Hello, our dear esteemed viewers of the community show. Welcome back to this episode of yet another interesting conversation, wherein we are discussing the impact of the Queen in a kingdom. Here we shall be discussing the Inebantu of Busoga and the Nnabagereka of Buganda. Joining me in this week's conversation to put this conversation into perspective, I am joined by distinguished lady and gentlemen who are from Buganda Kingdom, from Busoga, and an anthropologist. Joining me is Mr. Muwonge Timothy. Mr. Muwonge Timothy serves with Buganda Kingdom as the legal advisor, Gomba County, under the Office of Attorney General of Buganda. Thank you very much, Timothy, for joining us to discuss this particular interesting topic. Right next to Timothy, I'm joined by Mukyala, Cissy. I hope I have the pronunciation right.
Yes.
Cissy is joining us. She's joining us from Busoga, and as you can see, the smile is fresh. They are from celebrating the Inebantu. So we're very happy and thrilled to have you here. Later on, we shall also be joined by an anthropologist, Mr. Mike Kasoola, but that will be later on in the conversation. Otherwise, I'll just quickly get to you, my panelists, to briefly say hi, and we can get into the conversation. I'll begin with you, the lady, Cissy, who just fresh from enjoyment. Kindly say hello to the viewers.
Thank you so much, Douglas. Good afternoon, our dear viewers. I'm Cissy Mukyala, as introduced by Drake. I'm very humbled to have this opportunity to talk to you or debate or discuss, have a conversation about the role and importance of queens in Uganda. Thank you so much. Good afternoon again.
Thank you very much, Cissy. We shall delve deeper in the conversation, and then us understand how exactly the event went down there in Busoga, in Uganda. Very happy to have you. Let's have the legal advisor of Buganda Kingdom in Gomba, Mr. Muwonge Timothy. You're most welcome.
Good afternoon, our dear viewers and listeners. Like he has introduced, my name is Timothy Muwonge, legal advisor, Gomba County, and the Attorney General of Uganda, and that is Owetibwa Christopher Bwanika. I'm glad to be part of this conversation, discussing very, very important issue between the two queens and how these kingdoms are expecting more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're very happy to have you here. And tonight, I hope we put the conversation into perspective and let our viewers understand how exactly this rolls out. I'll just begin with Cissy. You are just fresh from celebrating the Inebantu of Busoga, who is, she's called Mutesi, if I get it right. And before we just get into depth into the conversation, I just want you to give us a brief historical background and historical evolution. So quickly, the question is, what has been the historical role of the Inebantu in Busoga Kingdom over the years?
Hello, thank you so much. Before I go to our Inebantu, I know that she cannot be known unless we know the king. Our first king was Owetibwa Uwako, who ruled between 1939 and he resigned in 1949 because of old age. It was after him that we got Henry Uwako Mulochi, who succeeded him at a much later age after 1955. Our father or founding father, Henry Uwako Mulochi, was married to, his wife was Her Royal Highness Alice Mulochi. One thing about her is that she was very educated, and back then we all agree, you will agree with me, that back then education for girl children was a very rare thing. But we are very glad that we had a very educated Inebantu, Her Royal Highness Alice Mulochi. and she sat by her husband, much as she was a teacher who educated many people, especially in Busoga. She was a counselor to very many who went through her hands. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for us. Now we have Her Royal Highness Mutesi. Deeper into that conversation, but I'd also like to engage the legal advisor in Gomba, Mr. Muwonge Timothy. What has been the historical role of the Nnabagereka in the Kingdom of Buganda?
Well, thank you so much for such a wonderful question. The Nabagereka of Buganda has been there for many years. Actually, the title Nabagereka means the queen. We can relate it to the queen, but it's, you say, the wife of the Kabaka. So it is the title that is given to the wife of the Kabaka. And in Uganda, we have had many of them, depending from different kings that we have had. You know very well that we had the Cissy, who was the mother of the current Kabaka. But I will not go deep into the past. I'll base mainly on who we have now, and that is Nnabagereka, Sylvia, Najinda. You don't be Nnabagereka before you get married to Kabaka. And it was in 1999 when Nnabagereka Sylvia Najinda got married to Kabaka Onadimunda Mutebi II to get that title of Nnabagereka. But before that, she was just Najinda Sylvia. So the title, I mean, like my colleague Mukyala has been saying, when you look into Busoga, you find that the Inebantu title also started around 1957 with the Chabazinga. May his soul rest in peace. So it started there. But for Buganda, it has been there. The only difference is that she is the first Nnabagereka to have an established office. Those days, the wife, the official wife to the Kabaka, was doing her work inside the palace, but there was no much engagement with the community and spearheading different activities. So, in the history of Uganda, Nnabagereka Sylvia Najinda is the first Nnabagereka to have an established office in Bulange, Mengo. And
Timothy, I would like to interject there briefly as you proceed. You mentioned that the current Nnabagereka of Uganda,
yes,
she is the first queen to ever have an established office. So I just have a follow-up question as regards to the evolution of that office of Nnabagereka in Uganda. So how has how has that role evolved over the years, being that she's the first Nnabagereka to establish an office? So how has that role particularly evolved in terms of her role and service to the community?
Well, like we have said, the historical roles are there because as the first historical role is take care of the queen, of the king, sorry, and the royal members. That is her historical role, and even other activities that are given to her in the royal roles. But the fact that if you know very well the history of Nnabagereka, she's highly educated, very educated. And, she came with the aim of making her queenship engaged with the community. And that's why she came with the idea of having an established office in order for her to take her services well into the community and the subjects. So that's why, because of the many programs that she had in mind, forced her to establish an official office. And that's how it ended up. It evolved like that because of, she has spearheaded many things, and yet she needed to have the official office where she can lead. She was not within Uganda before. She worked with UN, she worked with different international organizations, and she had made friends with different NGOs, and their work is not like the one of the kingdom. So she needed to have that office where they would have direct contact with her to do different work. That's how it came. Because of write down aims and goals for her in her being queen, she had to come up with that office. That's how it started evolving. But before, the other Nnabagereka we had, those ones, their main issue was traditional. Their role was only traditional. It was not going beyond traditional. But with the current Nnabagereka, she does the traditional work as well as doing the public, because she has a lot of programs that, as we shall go through them.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. You highlight very key and pertinent issues on the evolution of the role of Nnabagereka of Buganda, particularly one that looks at the previous predecessors of the Nabagereka, whose role were mainly traditional, but then we have had the evolution with the current Nabagereka, who has the first to ever have an established office. Nonetheless, let us get the perspective of an anthropologist, Mr. Mike Kasoola. Thank you very much for joining us in this conversation. Right before you joined us, I request you maybe possibly unmute and turn on your video if it's possible. I had engaged Cissy from Busoga and my brother Timothy, the legal advisor of Buganda and Gomba, on the issue of the historical role and evolution of the Inebantu in Busoga and the Nabagereka in Buganda. So, since you are an anthropologist, would like to get a historical perspective or historical role. My question to you then is, as an anthropologist, how has these offices of the Inebantu and the Nabagereka evolved over the years?
Yeah, thank you so much, moderator. I don't know whether I'm being heard.
Yes, you're audible.
Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are.
Thank you so much. You know, before you really understand the role of the Inebantu or Nabagereka of Buganda, you really have to understand the reasons why we have these kingdoms.
Yes.
These kingdoms are a symbol of humanity, a symbol of how a family should live. When you look at a nation, a family is the unit, is the basic unity of any nation. And each family must look at these symbols, these symbols as I would call it a model of what a family should be. That's why it is very difficult to find a king without a wife. Actually, kings are supposed to have wives. And the wives of kings are supposed to show what a nation looks like. That's why you find that we should have actual offices. The Nabagereka of Buganda has got an office, which is a very, very fundamental issue. I will give you an example. In Bugisu, where I come from, we don't have the kingdoms. But what you can see, we now have what we call the Umukuka. The Umukuka was established by people of Masabaland because they discovered that there was not something missing. something missing in a community that would bring people together, that would handle issues of development and make people focus on one thing, and that is development. So actually, the evolution of the roles of these people started a year back, before even we got to know what we call independence. A king, a wife of a king or wives of a king are the people other women look to for any advice, look to for order. The conduct of a family is seen in them. So enhancement of these families, enhancement of these kingdoms, enhancement of these institutions is very, very fundamental. I think you know very well that in Ghana, the person who fought for independence of Ghana, if you don't look for independence of Ghana, if you don't go to the Kwame Nkrumah's, we had a woman of a king who fought for the symbol for the kingdom. That was the chair of the king. So that is the perspective I look at it. That is the view, how you should look at these kingdoms. It's not a wife per se. It's a wife who's a symbol for families, and families are based on good women. Women are actually the mothers of the nations, and that conduct is what actually these people portray. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for bringing that to light, Mr. Mike Kasoola. You pose a very important question that before we even talk about the historical roles and evolution, we need to understand the reasons as to why these kingdoms or these kingdoms are established. The perspective that these are symbols of humanity and symbols of how families should live, which is very key and very important. Thank you very much for those interesting insights. Thank you very much, Kitimbo, Prince Kitimbo Daniel Joshua, for joining us back again. Before we delve deeper also into the conversation, I'd like to pick your thoughts on the issue to do with the historical role and evolution of the...
Oh, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and all my colleagues who are on this panel. One, it is very, 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 very important for any kingdom to have a queen mother or a queen. Now, like for us in Busoga, where we say our queen is called Inebantu. The word Inebantu means mother of all. So that she's the wife of the king. So she's a mother to all the Busoga. And any home that has no mother, you can always find that there are so many things that go amiss. Because the role of the woman in a home is to organize the home. She contributes to any development and any discipline, anything that you need for a home to be upright. Anybody in the home, even us men, is a role of the woman. So for any kingdom to move on well and do its work well, the king needs a right-hand person. The king may have a PA, may have a DC. All these guys will be around, but there is nothing much they will add on the value of the kingdom. But an Inebantu is the person who carries the cross besides the king. So Busoga, having got an Inebantu, I can tell you now that everything is going to go to full blast. One, we have so many things that are happening. Busoga is now rated as the kingdom that has so many teen mothers, girls that have dropped out of school, and these are roles of a woman. If you're a man in the home and your wife is useless, just know your kids are going to be useless too. Most of the time, women, we spend it doing other things, and we leave this role to be played by women. So that has more important as to why we should have an Inebantu, and as to why we should respect the Queen Mothers, and as to why they should be available in the kingdoms. Busoga has not been having a Queen Mother, but you know what has been happening. And from the time they announced that we have a Queen Mother, go back to the social medias and see what is happening. You see, there is already a change that is taking course because of the Inebantu. They have just seen the photos. The date has not come as to when she should be available to the people. That will be 18th November. But already the impact is being felt. All girls, if you go to social media, they're already trying to humble themselves because they know now the mother is available. We have the mother who's there to guide us. So I think, and I believe that these people play a very big role. And me coming from the royal family, because I'm close to the king. He always does the things, we always do things together, we sit in meetings, but you always find that missing gap, which has now come in. And we believe Busoga will be at greater heights. Just like the Nnabagereka of Uganda. If you look at the roles of the Nnabagereka of Uganda, whatever she has been doing, she has impacted the lives of these young girls. Not only young girls, but even the young boys. You know, there's a way they tame you to be a real person. You feel yourself. You go through that guidance that a king will not do because he has no time. He has to plan for the kingdom. He has to look at this. He has to look at the other. He has to, and now this comes in. The lady comes in to do all the work. And actually, for us men, it's just implementation. But most of the cooking is done by the ladies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prince Kitimbo. We'll definitely keep the conversation going. Right now, let me first get back to Mukyala Cissy on the issue of cultural influence. You realize that the announcement of the Nabagereka, of the Inebantu of Busoga, as Prince Kitimbo put it right, it sparked a lot of conversation on social media and a lot of interest from various stakeholders. So my question to you, therefore, is how do the Inebantu contribute to preserving and promoting the culture and the traditions of the Busoga Kingdom? Cissy?
Thank you so much, Douglas. We realized that when the kingdoms were banned during Obote one time, that is 1966 until 1993, family as the basic unit of any society went through a lot of challenges. I want to tell you that most of the people born during and shortly after that time are now parents. But one thing we are seeing are challenges in family, especially raising children. Reason being that we did not have queens under our kings. We are very glad right now as the kingdom of Busoga that our Chabazinga Isebantu has finally got us a mom. Since we didn't have a mom since 2009, when Her Royal Highness Alice Mulochi, who passed on in 2009, left us without a mother. As Busoga, we are looking at our next Inebantu as our mother to nurture us, both girls and boys, into becoming more responsible adults, and not only adults, but also parents. Because you realize that these days, most parents are leaving the roles of parents to house managers, which has caused a lot of challenges. For example, a child goes through hands of maybe 10 house managers. So this child has nothing in particular, but a bit of everything. And at the end of the day, this child is not grounded in anything, culture or traditional. Yet our mothers, especially in Busoga, our Inebantu, we are looking up to her to nurture our children, to nurture even us, because she's a mother to all of us. One thing is that she came to our father when he had all of us. We are big and some of us are ill-mannered, but she has to be patient with us until we become what she will nurture us into. And then as an Inebantu, we are expecting her to advocate for the rights of girls, especially girl child education, to continue the works of our mother, the late Alice Mulochi. She was a strong advocate for girl child rights, right from the time she started teaching and right from the time she joined her father in 1956. We are very glad that she was a mother to 8 children, and those were the directly like the biological children to her. But she had all of us for her children, and we are expecting our new mom to take on most of the roles, girl child education, and not only to focus on that, but also focus on the boys, because boys, our girls are going to live with these boys. So as she's nurturing the boys, we are looking at her nurturing the girls, just like what the Nnabagereka of Uganda is doing. In her efforts under the Nabagereka Foundation, she has a project of the Ekisakate. And this has worked so hard to prolong and preserve the cultures of the Buganda to people from Uganda and people from very far away. So we are expecting, I don't know, we are just so expectant that our mother is going to do a lot for us, apart from standing strongly by our father, the Inebantu of Busoga. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That has been a very passionate submission. I can just clearly hear it from your voice and tell that you're highly expectant and eagerly waiting for what the Inebantu is yet to do. Definitely, I wish you the best, and I wish all the people of Busoga. I understand the excitement is high, and since Prince Kitimbo is here, I should definitely tap on the king and tell him people are very excited and expectant of what's yet to happen. Thank you. Let me get the perspectives from Buganda Kingdom. Mr. Timothy Muwonge, still my question is in line of cultural influence. The Nabagereka of Buganda has had, and she's still having, tremendous influence in the Kingdom of Buganda, from her foundation, the Nabagereka Foundation that has been mentioned by Cissy, among other influences that she has had. So my question to you therefore is, how is the Nabagereka of Buganda contributing to preserving and promoting culture and traditions of Buganda Kingdom? Timothy?
Can you get me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you, my brother Onen. Before I go to that question, allow me to take you back a little on the evolution of queens. What was the reason behind to have these queens? You'll find that, for example, in Buganda, there was that gap between the royals and the Bakopi. And in Buganda, the Buganda setting, you find that the Kabaka cannot get the wife from the royals or the whatever. They have to get the wife from the Bakopi. You get? So it was one way of joining the subjects to the royals to move together. And that one makes people feel like they are part of the kingdom. They are part of what they want. And that's a role of the queen, the role of the mother. So once you get married to a king, does not make you be part of the royals. Yes, you are a special one because you're married to the king, but don't forget where you're coming from. Even these subjects, they feel okay that, oh, maybe the other another king will come and pick from another clan. And that's why you find that in Uganda, the Kabaka, our kings always take up the totems of their mothers. Why? Because they want them to also feel part of this. Then the other thing was that women are not left behind to look to be only domestic workers, but to feel that they can also be somewhere. Unlike before, you know, in our tradition, African tradition society, if you remember very well, women were left to do domestic work, not allowed to educate, they are educated and all that. But taking back to the question that you've asked me, what is the role of Nnabagereka of Buganda in maintaining, how is she maintaining culture? You'll find that Nnabagereka is highly educated, like I told you. And most people thought that because she is so educated, she will not manage to do the cultural activities that are in her line. But unfortunately, she has done a tremendous work in promoting the cultures. Yes, she has been telling people that getting educated does not stop you from following your culture. And that's why you see she's encouraging and she's supporting and paying school fees for some children who are unable to pay through her foundation, Nabagereka Foundation. This has helped people to get educated. But she's saying, mere education is not enough. Culture is also important. And that you see her organizing Sakate. My sister Mukyala has talked about it. She's organizing Sakate in holidays to show people that if at home you're not doing this responsibility of nurturing your children in the way how our traditional society was, please bring them to Sakate and we put them in the line. And she's doing it very well. That's why now you find that the Chisakate of Nnabagereka has produced other Chisakate. For example, I can give you, I serve in the church. I'm the youth leader in Vaga Cathedral. Of recent, we had a Chisakate of primary kids. But we got it, the background of it is coming from the Chisakate of Nnabagereka. But even in the church is like, I think there is this gap also. Can we do the religious nurturing as well as culture moving together? Because you find that some people are concentrating more on religion and they are not giving time to their culture. So in activities that are done in the Chisakate, for example, the dress code, preparing food, knowing about our clans, the lineage of our clans, all those are being done in Chisakate, and they try to promote culture. What are you not supposed to do? In Chisakate, actually, it is not all about what a Uganda is supposed to do. No, Nabagereka Foundation came up with Chisakate to nurture the African child. The African child. Actually, if you follow very well, Nnabagereka, after her becoming the Queen of Uganda, she mobilized other queens, let me say like that, the wife of other kings in Africa, to come up with, they formed what we call the African Queens and Women Cultural Leaders. I don't know if you've heard about it. But, and I'm happy here that Inebantu of Busoga is already having someone, the Nnabagereka of Uganda, who is going to take her into that foundation to make sure that she can even bring knowledge from what their foundation is doing, to make sure that there's an impact being done on the people of Busoga. So the fact that she came up with that foundation of that is the body that is joining them all together as the African queens and women of cultural leaders, I think it is one way that she wants to see that the African culture, the African norms are preserved and promoted. Whether you're educated or not, the line is, can we also put our cultures at a floor? Let's teach it to the young ones to know that if you're in Uganda, you're supposed to do that. If you're in Musoga, you're supposed to do this. Promote your culture, love your culture. You see it even in her dress code. I've never seen Nabagereka poorly dressed. So she's an example to the rest of the women. And I'm very, very happy with my brothers from Busoga that the Inebantu of Busoga, if she gets in touch with the Nnabagereka, you will find that we shall be moving together and we shall be promoting the cultures, we shall be promoting the girl child education. Yes, people are saying sometimes nowadays we say even the boy child is left behind. But I am happy that in the part of Nabagereka, even the boy child is there. So is considering both the girl and the boy child. And I believe these same activities that are being done by Nabagereka can also be extended to the Busoga kingdom. My brothers have said that where they have been missing a lot because there was no mother in the house. Now the mother is there. And I believe they are going to work together to see that the African norms, the African cultures are promoted. And I like Nabagereka about that because she has put her degrees behind to make sure that, let's move the culture. Let's make us proud of our cultures. And many girls, ladies are inspired by her nowadays. They're inspired so much. Yeah. So, and I believe Inebantu is already having someone who is also going to help her. It's all about working together. Yes.
Thank you. Let me quickly bring in Mike before you understand Mike has an overlapping meeting with this one. Mike, just before you jump off, I'd just like to pick your anthropological insights on the issue of cultural influence and community development as regards to the Nabagereka and Inebantu. How do they influence culturally, and also how do they influence community development? Or Mr. Mike has jumped off. All right, let me get to Mr. Prince Kitimbo. The issue that Cissy and Timothy have talked about on the issue of cultural influence. Now the conversation comes down to community development. You realize that Timothy highlights the developments that the initiatives that the Queen of Buganda has taken to see that there is advocacy for the girl child, but also promotion and protecting, putting girl child in school, similarly even with the boy child. Now, my question to you is in line of community development. Right now, you are in-house of the Busoga Kingdom, and I believe you possibly have plans in place. Busoga region has been greatly plagued with a lot of girl child drop out of school, the inability there has been an issue of jiggers and a number of issues. So my question to you then is, how is the soon to happen event of the installation of the Inebantu of Busoga contribute to the development of the communities in terms of combating these challenges that Busoga has been facing? Daniel?
Thank you, my brother. I would love to thank Timothy for his presentation. It is really good. I would like to inform you that we have been already having a Sagati, but for us we call it a Chigango. It has been, yes, it has been existing, and this has been managed by Oekitiwa Joyce Abaliwan, still a lady. So as the Inebantu comes in, she's already, part of her work has been played. And she's just coming to join the board, to join us and join the other colleagues so that her role can be filled. Like Mukyala said, mothers are role models. This one we have to believe. These are our role models. That's why in everything we do, we first look at the mother. If for instance, if my mother is a lady who quarrels all the time, and she tries, like we don't have peace at home, so you'll find that home is in a mess. So as the Inebantu comes in, yes, part of her work has been played, but she has a bigger role to play in our community. One, when you look at the high numbers of teenage pregnancies, girls that have dropped out, we have so many gender-based active, I call them activities because it's now like something that is done every day. They no longer look at it as a sin or a crime. It is something that it is being looked at as some normal. Now she has to come in and change this. Of course, she has to be a peacemaker, a person who creates peace in our community, in our homes. Once your mother tells you to do something, you have to obey. Even me at this stage of mine, if my wife calls my mother and she says, Daniel is doing this and this, and my mother calls me, the first thing I'll do is to apologize. I will say, Mommy, I'm sorry, and I'm not going to repeat that again. So you see, there is that linkage that is attached to us, that a mere say of a mother, a word, just one word from a mother, one word from the Inebantu, can change so many lives of our young girls, of our sisters, because she's a role model. Timothy said, you look at the code of dressing. If the Inebantu is dressing poorly, then that means that is the branding she's doing, that all other people will follow. But if the code of dressing is okay, that's what we have to start with, culture, then all of us will move according to that line. I move with the king, but the truth is, there are some things I don't do. Not because I cannot afford, but because of what he's doing. He's a role model. We already have the Gabriel Foundation. This is a foundation that is implementing work on behalf of the king. It is the king's initiative. He's the CEO of Gabriel Foundation. And Gabriel Foundation is already on the ground. Recently, we just graduated out 14,000 students who have gone through skilling in the different enterprises. So the development or boosting the community has already started. I'm a CEO of Developing Lives and Nutrition Uganda. That's that in Uganda. We are doing so many activities. We are improving on the nutrition, but we also have a package of skilling whereby we call upon all these teenage mothers and the boys. We are training them free of charge. And at the end of it all, they are sitting for exam, UBTEB. They are getting certificates. All this work we are doing, we are working hand in hand with the king and the Inebantu. So impact is already being felt. Recently, when we had the first graduation, that was after the introduction, after the Inebantu had been unveiled. Everybody, so many people came, so many girls, so many boys, so many women came. They wanted to see the queen. They want to see the Inebantu. And I'm telling you, if you are there, you are going to be amused, because code of dressing, Gomez, Kanzo, those ones who didn't have Gomez's, long dresses. Nobody had a skirt. Nobody put on a trouser. You know, that is already psychological. They know that where the queen is, we should dress decently. Now, Timothy was already right, is there. He talked about code of dressing. So that is already now a psychological change. You know, something comes in before you're even told. Mindset change. Just look at what is happening and you have to move by the wave. You know, if I have to be close to the Inebantu, I have to dress like this. If I have to be a good mother, the Inebantu is a graduate. She has a bachelor's, she's doing a master's. But why she do that? Because she already has all these titles, and I think she has now everything she needs. But she keeps on going back to school. So she's sending a message to these people. We have to go back to school. We have to study. As part of our lives, if we want to be okay, we have to study. Gender-based violence in the homes. I want to tell you, most of these come as a result of misunderstanding between the parents. But if a mother was brought up well. You know, I grew up in that family where my father used to tell us that if my wife annoys me, I should take water. You know, and he could tell me that water helps me to cool down. But later I discovered when I have water in my mouth, of course I will not speak. If I speak, that means I'm going to spit the water to people. So that is something that was being used to help us put down our anger. And it's the same thing that is being done by ladies. They will tell you, a wife, if your guy or your husband annoys you, take water. Look at him, thank him, keep quiet. As you keep quiet, you are sending a signal to the children that violence is not the best thing in the home. But if a mother is violent, then even the daughters will go in the same line. So I think that the role of the Inebantu cultural development or community development of Busoga is real great. I know she has a long way to go, but you also have partners. Timothy talked about the Nabagereka guiding the Inebantu, but I would want to inform you or give information like these people have already met. Even before the introduction, before she was unveiled, I think they have met like 4 to 5 times. Oh, already she's going through the hands of the Nnabagereka. You know, the Nnabagereka comes and visits, she goes and visits. You know, she's already orienting her, telling her, yes, you are coming into this, you are coming into the limelight, but this is how you're supposed to behave. Even if this happens, this is what you're supposed to do. My brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, our communities have already changed. That is me, I'm in the community, I work with the community, I implement the activities of the king directly. I don't get any orders from anybody else, but directly from the king. Because we work together. Recently, I've been in the US. I was on that team. But we had things we were looking at. We had things we were strengthening. So that as the Inebantu comes in, she already has more partners that are going to help in sensitizing our communities in the various activities. Not only looking at maybe education, but the culture is key. In a society that does not value cultural norms is a Western society. Whatever we do, we work in line with our cultures. And it is culture that has done the greatest role of shaping us. Because if I do something, they'll tell me, remember, you're a prince. A prince is not supposed to do that, like to behave like that. Remember, you are from this clan. This clan plays this role towards in the development of the king or in anything. This is the contribution of the clans. So you find that a lot, we have missed a lot, but a lot is already happening. Before even the wedding time, I'm telling you, we have a lot. We had we had around 1,000 students in the organization that turned up for skilling, alongside the 14,000. But now we have, actually, the numbers are overwhelming because they know who's going to be the chancellor. It's either the king or the queen. They want to come before the queen. You know, they want to look at her. They want to see her confirm the certificates to them. You know, as the mother, they want to stand before her. You know, they want to present before her. Now, there is a way, I think it is coming like a wave that everybody wants to involve him or herself into an activity that can bring him close to that line. So I think a lot is going to be done, and a lot is being done so far in the development of our communities in the program.
Thank you. That has been quite elaborate, and I definitely wish Busoga Kingdom nothing but the best. From your submission, since you are already a prince in the kingdom and you know exactly what is in the pipeline for the people, all I can say is the people of Busoga and the kingdom of Busoga should be highly expectant and excited for what is yet to come, because the first and most important thing is you have a very young king. You have a young queen, and you also have a very young, energetic team that is willing to implement activities that are in support or that are to uplift the livelihoods of the community. Thank you very much. Let me get to Cissy, and then we can get to Timothy, then I can see how to wind the conversation in the next 13 minutes or so. So, Cissy, the issue of gender roles and leadership. Historically, women were mandated to, their gender roles and responsibilities were particularly outlined in terms of cooking, in terms of taking care of people at home, and they were sidelined from the activities of leadership. So like when it came to making decisions, women were not given key roles in making decisions. But over the years, we have seen a shift. We have seen that change. And I know with the unveiling of the Inebantu and then soon the installation of her, will put her in a key center stage in terms of gender and leadership. So then my question to you is, you yourself, you're a woman, Cissy. So how do you think being a woman such as yourself, but also possibly speaking or looking at what the Nabagereka, the Inebantu is to face? So in what ways can the Inebantu challenge or uphold traditional gender roles and expectations in leadership? Cissy? You're muted.
Yes, thank you so much, Timothy. I would like to talk about, thank you, kindly go. Sorry about that. I would like to first of all thank the initiative for gender balance and equity. This has helped us so much. Sorry, I have a friend here.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yes,
gender roles and responsibilities.
You know, yeah, the initiatives for gender balance have actually helped us so much. We are seeing it in the fights or the contribution of many people and organizations towards equity in education, especially for the girls. Girls particularly face unique challenges in their making as girls, and this sometimes works against them. But as our Inebantu comes in, we are very hopeful that she will work with our king in line with what is already happening to make it even better. For example, she may come up with initiatives that will make both the girl and the boy compete equally. For example, she can copy, like what my colleague Muwonge said, she can copy a few things from other queens, especially the Nnabagereka, like her foundation for female sponsorship at Makere. She is a member and is a patron to it to ensure that girls don't stop at senior 6 but can access higher education at campus or even beyond that, even at postgraduate. And as our queen herself, she's educated. I'm very glad to learn that she's doing her postgraduate qualifications. This alone can be used to advocate. I'm not saying challenging, but advocate. She can advocate for more more sponsorships, especially for the girls from Busoga, those who have gone beyond senior 6. And number 2, she can still work with the government to uphold or appreciate the girl-child education systems that are a bit in favor of the girls. But again, she should not overdo this, because when we empower the girls so much, we should also look at the boy child, since the girl child is going to live with the what? With the boy child. In addition to that, she will still copy a leaf from the Nabagereka, who trains both girls and boys in her Chisakate. She trains them to ensure that they don't look at house chores as a gender or gender responsibilities. For example, if you have a husband who can help you with cooking, you can take care of the children. And at the end of the day, you will both be healthy and you will be able to raise healthier children who will be able to be better subjects to our kings and queens. Thank you so much, Timothy.
Thank you. I'm Douglas Drake. Timothy is
Yeah,
Timothy
sorry.
is a panelist. It's all right. It's all right. But that has been a very wonderful submission and very detailed. Right now, let me get to Timothy as we try to wind up and then also have the thoughts of the Prince Kitimbo. Timothy, you are aware that as either be it a Nabagereka or an Inebantu, there are definitely challenges that you face. And since you serve as a legal advisor in Gomba County, you could possibly know the challenges that the Queen has faced, but also the milestones that she has achieved. So my question to you is, just maybe tell us a few challenges that you think the Queen of Buganda is facing and how has she overcome them, but also highlight for us the achievements that she has attained as the Nabagereka in terms of the impact that she's having in her community in Buganda. Timothy?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much, Douglas. And I think you'll allow me after this presentation to exit because I have an appointment that is ongoing already. Yes, there is no work that can just smoothly be going on. There is always challenges here and there. And I can't say that Nnabagereka, she's finding everything okay. No, some are not okay. You know, sometimes convincing someone to join something, it's not easy. Yeah, there is that mentality that we always have. Those are for the rich, those are for what, those are, you get. Yeah. So some people, they buy the idea, some do not buy the idea. Actually, if you find that, if you can closely follow what Nabagereka does in Sakate, these are the things that majorly what the people call that they are in the middle. Should we call them those who are in the middle income status, whatever, the rich and all that? Okay, those in the urban centers can no longer afford to give their children. I'm talking about the upbringing. You find, you know what happens in town. You find someone is living in his house, but with many people, and they cannot probably give what exactly is supposed to be done, especially in nurturing. And the other thing is some people are busy with work. Children are with maids, which maid is not even from your culture. You find your Musoga, you got a maid from, let's say, from the north. Totally, there is a language problem. There is, even in culture, the norms are not together. So what Nabagereka is doing is that, okay, most of these children are in boarding section. They have little time with their parents. When they come back in holidays, parents are busy working. So they don't have that time of parent-child relationship. So what she does is like, can we have this simple organization? And then we mentor, we try to direct the young children in what they're supposed to do. But there is also a challenge that you find that where she takes them, it is you have to accommodate, feed, and do that. So once she asks some little fund from the parents, some will say, those ones, they have money, they just want to do this. But yet, it is just a mobilization to add on. So like I've told you that it begins with changing the thinking, the mindset of people. The other thing is, you'd find that, I think actually, according to me, I would love to see the government supporting the queens. For example, now, my brother Daniel was talking about the Chabazinga Foundation that is trying to help educate different people in Busoga. But I don't think that there is much that is being given to Chabazinga on the work he's doing. from the government. I would think that the government nowadays should also consider supporting some activities of these cultural leaders because they are directly in touch with the subjects and they believe in them. Most of the programs, if you pass through the cultural leaders, they will work out. And even these other government officials where things are being stolen, and we hear corruption, everyday corruption. Because a king, a queen is in touch with the subjects. These are his people, these are children, these are, I don't know. So you always want to see, the king will always want to see that the people are okay. The queen will want to see the young children are catered for. So it is a big challenge that even sustaining such movements, it's hard to the side of Nabagereka. And I know it is the same to my friends in Busoga. It is also because you find that the incomes from the cultural leaders are not there. And you find government, people steal money, billions and billions of money, and yet they would have used this money to support these cultural leaders, to fund their activities of promoting this different work that they do. Yes, Nabagereka has tried to achieve, because you find that she has she's good at lobbying, and I'm glad that my brother Daniel told me that the Inebantu is already in hands of Nabagereka to see that they move together. I like the togetherness, and that is so good. I appreciate the togetherness of our kingdoms. I believe that because Nabagereka, you find that she has been in the health sector. We have seen activities like immunization of tetanus, measles, and all other things. But she has been getting some support through lobbying the international organizations, the big organizations like you said, UN, to come in and help. And I believe that has helped her to achieve what she has achieved. The fact that they are in touch with the Inebantu, I know, although there is the foundation of the Chabazinga, as we also have the Kabaka Foundation, as well as the Nabagereka Foundation. You know, when you're at home, the approach of children to the father is not the same as the approach of the children to the mother. So if both organizations are funded well, you find that the kingdom will be able to achieve the aims. So a lot has been achieved, like I've said, with Nabagereka. For the years she has been in the palace, and more is being achieved, but there is still much that is needed to realize the goals that she set. I believe when they work together, or even what she has achieved is extended to other kingdoms, then Uganda will be a different world. Thank you so much, my brother, and inviting me to be part of this.
Maybe just before you go, just give us your parting shots, because that is where we are headed to right now. Briefly,
my what?
Your parting shots. Your parting shots as we're concluding the conversation. What are you going to tell the audience? What you will tell the kingdom of Buganda, the kingdom of Busoga?
Oh, well, first, I'm glad that I was invited to be part of this, and there is a lot that I've learned from this, especially on the topic of the impact of the queens, the Inebantu and Nabagereka of Buganda. I have learned from my brother Kitimbo and Mukyala. You've given the reality, and I believe that the lesson in this is to make sure that all kingdoms work together to achieve what we want. Because before being Ugandans, we have kingdoms that where we come from, and we are Africans. Yes, Uganda joins us together, but we don't forget our cultures. And once we work hand in hand as kingdoms and chiefdoms, Uganda will be able to grow.
All right.
But sometimes we forget that. But I thank the audience and the viewers, listeners to this great conversation, that let's join hands together to make sure that we promote our cultures, we promote our kingdoms, we promote Uganda.
Okay.
You find that
Thank
many countries have been able to achieve because they have not thrown away what their cultures are. Thank you so much. I thank you, my other panelists, Daniel and Mukyala, Center for Constitution Governance, Douglas, moderator. Thank you so much. I would love to continue, but I still have to get engaged in other activities.
All right.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
It's all right. Thank you. Thank you very much for those wonderful submissions. Let me get to Daniel. I will conclude with the lady. We started with her, so we shall end with her. Let me get to the Prince. Prince Kitimbo.
Yes, please.
What should we expect moving forward, and as the unveiling of the Inebantu, and what is in store for the Kingdom of Busoga? And as you conclude, maybe you can in a few words tell us about that, and then you can give us your concluding messages.
Thank you so much, Douglas. One, I want to inform the whole country, because Busogas are not only in the Busoga Kingdom. We are all over. You see, Uganda is for everyone, so everybody has the right to stay where or she feels better. And our other colleagues in other kingdoms, that what we should expect is the best. The truth is, the king or the Inebantu was so careful when he was choosing the Inebantu. And as you look at the print, I mean the beauty, the appearance of the Inebantu and the looks, I'm telling you, she is going to deliver. We should expect the best, because she has been mentored. I got a chance of going to the family. I was among the few people who went for the introduction. So when you look at her upbringing, the family where she comes from, and where she is coming, and the family that she has joined, I'm telling you, these are people who have Busoga at heart. In her history, the history of Busoga, it is only our grandfather who saved Busoga land from being taken over by the Indians. You know, they had dominated area, they had taken the land, had forged documents, agreements, and when he went to ask for the agreement, as a king, let me look at this. So he had to choose the agreement, and then later told them, you know what, you have bought nothing. What shows that you have bought? So, these are people who are wise. They are charismatic. They have Busoga at heart. They have Uganda at heart. So it is only the best that we are going to give out. Already from the 9 years, the king has been on the throne. A lot has changed. For the 6 years that we were in the struggling, fighting each other, Busoga was in a mess. But after the coronation of the king, so many things have changed. Our schools, cultural schools that had dropped, the performances had gone down, everything has gone back to normal. When you look at our cultural norms, the preservation of the cultural norms, I'm telling you, it is a class. Actually, the two leaders we have, the father of Busoga and the mother of Busoga, are role models. Everybody wants to emulate them. So we are going to have the best. That's what I can tell the Busoga. We as people working together with the king, and who try to, at least in the policy making, we are always invited and we discuss, to give our views and ideas, because we are the foot soldiers. We always on the ground in the various areas. We confront the various chiefs. We sit with them. We discuss with them. How do you want your chiefdom to look like? How do you want to see Busoga? What do you want to see? Where do you feel the changes could be done? I'm telling you, we are going to have the best out of this. And the Inebantu has already started doing her work. because of the, the mere fact that she's in, even before she says anything, things are already being streamlined. We are getting into the line. We're organizing ourselves so that she finds us when you're already organized.
Yeah.
And maybe to what I can conclude with is that one, I would like to thank you for the invite. When I got a call from Madrid, I was busy, and actually I think I should thank the entire team because it is me who led the change of this meeting today. They rescheduled because of me. So I felt bad when I went off the first time, but I thank God that I later came and joined my colleagues. Thanks for the invite, and please, Douglas, for having coordinated us. Don't stop here at only this discussion of the importance of the Queen, or the Nabagereka, or the Inebantu towards the development of the various kingdoms and the communities, but we should continue coming up with more and more developing conversations, because several people we can link to so many people, at least who can come and have the various discussions. Out of the discussions, there's a lot that are people online and the viewers who have been live on this discussion can achieve. Culture is culture. You cannot achieve anything minus culture. That's why when you are getting a wife, you have to go and visit the auntie. You have to go and, you do those pre-visits before the unveiling. And because they value culture so much, they don't do the introduction in the public. They choose a few people who are family core members, and they are taken into the house. That means that is preservation of the culture. Then they discuss the various norms and, whatever is required is done in the house. So when they come out, they just tell us a little what has happened. That means that's culture. So if culture was not the key or the stake or the great pillar into our lives and in whatever we are doing, then Uganda could not be where it is. You always look at the president when during his conversations, he always brings poems from his the Nyankole sayings. That is culture of the Nyankole. They always come up with those sayings. He always tries to drive the point home, but he uses culture. He does not use education. He does not use politics, but he uses culture. So please, thanks so much. I'm really grateful. Mukyala, my sister, Mukyala she's a princess, a Mombeja. So, yeah, if you didn't know, she is.
Interesting. So we are hosting royals only here.
Thanks for the contribution and thanks for the discussion. It has been really nice. Timothy, who has left, and then the Center for Consortium.
Center for Constitutional Governance.
Yes, it has been really nice joining you people. And I think I'll always be available anytime you need me.
All right. Thank you.
Because it is part of my role to help the youth and drive at least something. Try to do something on how they should improve on their lifestyle and what should be done in our community.
Definitely.
But you should also not forget the boy child, please. Let's advocate for the boy child.
We always consider it, and I'm very interested and passionate that you are very interested in youth empowerment. We shall keep in touch and see how it goes. But thanks for honoring the invitation. Let me just get to Cissy. Briefly, Cissy, our time is fast spent. I know the conversation is interesting. We could go on and on and on, but we have to come in. Just quickly give us your concluding, just quickly. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Douglas. One thing I want to do is I want to welcome the Busoga. Welcome back so much from the coronation of our king. And I want to welcome our Inebantu. Mama tusangaire noja twagana nga twetereziza. I am a very strong advocate of the Lusoga language, and I call upon parents, not only the Busoga, but all parents, please, English is a foreign language, and at the end of the day, the child by all means has to learn English. It will be very unfortunate for this child to only know English when they are from Busoga, with a Musoga father and a Musoga mom. Number two, our mother should find us organized. Basoga banange tuterezeemu ebyo byonna byonna ebibaire birobye. Engoye twambale bulungi bana mama atwagaane nga tunekeire nga tuli bulungi kuba bw'ovaala obulungi n'abakubo n'abakuwa ekitiibwa. Abaana abalenzi tube tubalese einuma, empale muliddire kakugwa, bana mugeme empale dikalangukire waigulu. Ate muniikire okusoma kuba ezira kijatutoola mu bwavu era obusoga bulingirire imwe okutoola ku nga timutwendera timutwendeza ife tubendeza kibonera abazaire berekereza byonna byona baba wakasente muje musome baana abasoga nimwe emiti emito nimwe betulingirire. And then in my conclusion, I want to thank the Nnabagereka of Buganda. She has done a very wonderful job, not only to the people of Buganda, but to the world over. Being a communication specialist, she has advertised Buganda and Uganda at large. She has also authored books. Thank you so, so much, Mama Nnabagereka. I hand over to you, Douglas. Thank you for hosting me once again. I'm glad.
Thank you very much. If I'm to pick you right, when you're speaking Lusoga, you are saying the boy child should put on their pants up straight. We are the young generation that should concentrate and do the best. I know very little Lusoga. I was in Busoga last year. I went to Buyende, Kaliro. I moved quite a lot there. It's
you should find a Musoga woman if you're not married yet.
Thank you very much. It's been fun. We shall keep in touch. Thank you all for honoring our invitation. Tonight we've been discussing the impact of the queens, the Inebantu and the Nabagereka, and I've been joined by a panel of high-profile citizens, Prince Kitimbo Daniel Joshua, the Princess Mukyala Cissy, Mr. Mike Kasoola in his absentia, and Mr. Muwonge Timothy from Buganda Kingdom. I've been Douglas Onen, your host and moderator for this week's show. Thank you very much all for joining, and we're very happy that you all tuned in and hosted you. Thank you very much and have a blessed week. Bye-bye.